Hey, if you're tired of getting stuck in the middle of your league and you feel like you're working hard, but maybe not quite getting anywhere, and you are basically just ready to stop spinning your wheels and actually start standing out on the track, then you are in the right place, my friend. I have worked with hundreds of derby skaters just like you. You've probably been working your butt off at practice, and then you don't see any actual results, and you're wondering, like, oh, well, maybe I'm just like not a natural athlete, right? And you watch your other teammates leveling up, going faster, and then it starts to make you think, like, am I actually like cut out for this? And I'm willing to bet it actually feels like you're like so close, but you're never actually quite there. So let's talk about why this happens. And this is the stuff that I really wish someone would have told me in my first couple of years of derby. So this video is for you if you have been showing up to every practice, but you're still sitting on the bench. You're holding back because you're afraid of messing up. Maybe you're like watching other people get rostered and you feel like you're just totally invisible, and you're starting to even like second guess your skills, and sometimes that almost spills over into like a worthiness thing of like, you feel crappy at practice and then you feel crappy in the rest of your life. And that's the thing, is it's not just about derby, is it? Like, if you don't fix this stuff now, then you stop trusting yourself, you lose that like spark and energy that you have at practice, and then I'm willing to bet that how you play in derby is probably how you play in a lot of other areas of your life. So this is what I don't want for you. I don't want you to spend another season on the sidelines. I don't want you wondering what could have happened if you just gone for it, like really gone for it. And I don't want you looking back on your derby career and being like, man, I had so much potential and I wish that I had just given myself a chance. So if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Chrissy Crash. I've been playing roller derby since 2006. I skated, WFTDA champs with Angel City. I won, 3 LA Derby Dolls championships with the Tough Cookies. And 100 years ago, I was also randomly one of the Manson sisters in Whip It. So weird, I know. But before all of that, I was a skater trying to come up. And for me, growing up, I actually played sports. I wasn't like the best, but I was like decent. And I was always kind of like a bigger athlete. Like, I'm 6'1". I was never a skinny girl. I was just kind of like tall and like reasonably fit. And like, my family was pretty healthy. So it wasn't just like I was some super unhealthy person. I was just not like the best athlete on the planet, right? I even played goalie because like I was tall, and honestly, I really hated running. So I think that they just shoved me in the goal because they're like, oh, let the tall girl stand back there. And in all that time, I never really thought much about training. I just played sports. And then college happened. I went there to play like college soccer, and I dropped out my freshman year, and then all my movement stopped. I put on the freshman 15, and then I put on the sophomore 15. I was drinking a lot, I was eating like crap, I was not working out at all. And after I graduated from college, for the next 4 years, I was still in that same spot. And 4 years later, I was feeling it because I was starting to, like, I knew I needed to like do a sport. And so I was like, oh, I'll go play adult soccer because, I played soccer as a kid. Like, I felt like I had to do something and I didn't really have any direction. And I just felt really almost like disconnected from my body. Like, I didn't feel like an athlete. I just felt like someone who used to play sports. And then this magical night, everything changed. I was at home and I saw a commercial for a reality TV show called Roller Girls. I don't know if you guys remember this, 2006. And I had this instant reaction of like, what the fuck is that? And I was so curious. I immediately looked up a local roller derby league. I bought a pair of skates. I went to practice, and I spent most of the first night like clinging to the wall, like at the skating rink, or like falling on my ass. But honestly, when I left my first practice, I was obsessed. Like, something had like lit up inside of me. I mean, I was still 30 pounds overweight. My endurance sucked. I hadn't really thought about agility since college soccer. But now, like, my mind was on fire. Like, there was this desire to get better at derby that literally like kept me up at night. I was, working at a preschool during the day, and while I would push the kids on the swings, I started like doing it on one leg to try to like make my balance better. And I was thinking about derby all the time. I don't know if this happened to you too, but I was just I was obsessed. And it was the first time in my life that I ever feel like that I ever really felt driven to be better. Like I was driving towards being good at something. And over the course of the next couple of years, it took me 4 or 5 years of like piecing together workouts. Like I would go and look up football workouts and hockey workouts and all these things. I invested thousands of dollars into beefy personal trainers at the gym that literally they had no idea what roller derby was. I hired mindset coaches to help me work on my mindset. I even eventually got a personal trainer certification just to figure it all out for myself before I finally, like putting all this stuff together, grabbing all these pieces of information from all of these different places, I finally understood how to train for derby, how to feel my body, how to think like an athlete. And I think for me, like I wish more than anything that someone had been able to, when I started derby, sit me down and tell me the things that I'm about to tell you. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to share with you the 5 things that I wish I knew when I was a skater, like trying to get noticed. Okay. Mindset shifts, training tweaks, and maybe even a little bit of like hard truths of what actually helped me level the hell up. And don't worry, at the end, I will give you some next steps and action steps on how to execute all of this stuff, or even like support if you need it. So let's get into it. Here's what I wish I knew when I was coming up. Okay. So if you need to go grab a piece of paper, pause this, go grab something to write this stuff down. Okay. Ready? Number 1, skill isn't everything. Like drills are not the whole game. Like there's decision making, there's awareness, and consistency on the track, I think matters more than anything. And being the best at practice doesn't always mean you'll be the best in the game. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen that person that has great skills, but they've got a shit attitude and they're a terrible teammate, right? And so it's important that you, as a skater trying to come up, you need to do a couple of things. 1, you need to study footage, because doing the skills is enough to get you past minimum skills, but understanding the inner workings of the game is only going to come from you playing in scrimmages or you watching roller derby. And my guess is if you only have 1 to 3 practices a week, you're not going to get enough derby into your brain through those scrimmages. And so it's important that you're studying footage outside of derby. There's a really great book called Tipping Point. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something. So if you can be watching footage, thinking about derby, you're actually learning that stuff that way as well. Okay. Another way that you can do this is start thinking more like a coach and not just like a skater. Because as I think as a skater, it's easy for us to just get down on ourselves and like kind of make emotional like judgments. Whereas as a coach, you could look at yourself and go, oh, well, what do I need to improve on and get better at? This is something that inside of my program called Crash Course, we work with skaters on this a lot. We have a lot of skaters that come in and they've been overlooked. And as they come in and they end up getting smarter and stronger, then what happens is all of a sudden their coaches are noticing. I remember one of our skaters came back, they started with us, and then they had a hiatus, like an off season. And when they came back, their coach was like, what have you been doing? You turned into like a roller derby phoenix, right? But that happened because that person wasn't just relying on practices to get better. They were studying footage. They were working with us. We were reviewing their skills. We were working with them on their off skates training, right? It's not just about showing up to practice, okay? Number 2, your body is an engine. Fuel it, okay? I realized very quickly, and maybe you've had this realization too, that showing up to practice isn't enough, right? It's important to understand that you need to be focusing on getting like enough protein. You need to be drinking enough water, paying attention to the processed foods that you're putting into your body. So some really great things to focus on if you have never thought about athlete nutrition at all in your entire life is something as simple as shooting to get 100 grams of protein a day. It's a really great starting point. For most people, it's probably not enough, but if you're not even getting that, it's a really good starting point, okay? Other things, thinking about hydration. For every 30 minutes of exercise, you need about 8 ounces of water. So if you have a 3-hour practice, you should be drinking at least 24 ounces of water during practice, let alone what you're drinking before getting ready. Because the problem is if you're already thirsty and you're already parched, you're already dehydrated, okay? So your mission this week is to focus on getting at least 100 grams of protein and hydrating well. And if you can, pay attention to eating about 80% of your food as like whole food, like 1 ingredient foods, instead of packaged bullshit from the store, okay? The next piece of this is to train smart. Okay, because the problem is that what a lot of skaters do is they go and do what I did. When I first started roller derby, I was super excited about the sport. I knew literally nothing about training. So I did what I had done in the past as like a diet girl, is I went and I got on the elliptical and I was like, I'll do the elliptical, but I'll squat and I'll go forwards and then I'll go backwards. And that's going to really help me. And granted, it was better than nothing, right? It was better than sitting on my couch, but it didn't get me very far. It got my heart rate up. It maybe got my legs a little bit stronger, but that's about it, because derby is a very dynamic sport. So doing something like this is not going to make you a whole lot better at derby. Similarly, I went and I got a lot of generic trainers. And the problem was they also didn't understand that I was training for a sport. And a lot of trainers will sort of look at you and go, oh, well, yeah, you're a girl, so you probably want to lose weight. So I'm just going to give you like a kind of like generic bodybuilding workout, or they'll give you like some random like fitness workouts that they think are going to make you better at roller derby, but they've never watched a second of it in their life. So if you're thinking about training smarter for derby, what I want you to do is at least be working out 2 days a week off skates. Okay. But I want you to do it smartly, meaning that you should be focusing on strength, yes, but also power and agility. Power meaning having strength but doing it faster, things like plyometric exercises. And then agility, things like agility ladders, lateral movements. How are you getting from here to there faster? How are you changing direction faster? And in the beginning, even if it's just 30 minutes, again, better than nothing and better than the elliptical, okay? The next one is stop comparing yourself to others. It's so hard to do. I'm sure you've done it as many times as I have. I wasted so much energy worrying about whether I was going to be better than someone else instead of worrying about was I better than I was yesterday. And the mind fuck about this was I was actually getting better, but I wasn't giving myself the credit to getting better because I was so worried about was I getting better than that person. And so I actually ended up having less fun at derby, even though I was progressing, because I was so worried about everyone else. Okay. So it's really important that you understand that you have to run your own race, and you need to know how you're tracking that. Things like watching your scrimmage footage, things like asking for feedback from your coaches, setting small goals for yourself. Maybe this month you're going to focus on taking the inside line while jamming but not getting hit out. Or you're going to focus on pushing the blockers 20 feet out of play. Or you're going to focus on making sure that you're keeping your hips forward as you're in the middle of the wall when you're also plow stopping, right? But you have to set those little goals for yourself, because no coach is going to do that. And you're not going to notice that you're getting better unless you're intentionally setting those goals and focusing on that progress. So your mission is really to focus on that progress and set some goals for yourself for the next month, and then only compare yourself to yesterday's version of you. Okay. The next piece is understand that practice is for failing forward. This is something that, like, I remember how many practices I used to, when I switched from LA Derby Dolls to Angel City and I went from bank track to flat track, I literally spent, I think, probably the first month crying on my way home from practice. Like, I would leave so frustrated. I would be so overwhelmed. I would be so, like, there were so many moving parts. I felt like I was doing everything wrong. And what I would tell myself, my past self now, and what I'm telling you is you're supposed to mess up. That's how you grow. And so if you're feeling challenged at practice, that's actually a really good thing, because it means you're attempting to do things that are outside your comfort zone. If you go to practice and you're like super comfortable and you feel like you're awesome at the end of every practice, I encourage you to think that you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. And if you're feeling good at the end of every practice and you're still not getting picked for games, it means that you actually really need to be putting yourself into harder situations. You need to be taking more risks. You need to be trying harder things. And if you're someone who is feeling like, man, I'm just getting so frustrated, understand that that frustration is going to pass as long as you keep showing up and doing what I was talking about in terms of setting intentional goals and picking specific things to work on. Okay. And then the last one is just the mindset really makes the difference. Okay. It's a lot of times it's not our body that's holding us back, it's actually our mindset. And for me, a big piece of my mindset was my attitude. And I remember when I rolled into LA Derby Dolls, I started out flat track, and then I went to bank track, and then I went back to flat track. And so when I went originally from flat track, where I was like a starting skater on the roster, and then I went to bank track to a whole different league, and I didn't even get passed through minimum skills into sub pool because they said I couldn't plow stop, which sucked, right? But it was my mindset that, oh, well, I deserve it because I'm here, that was holding me back. And so what I had to really do is I had to humble myself to the work. And if you're a skater that's like trying to get on a C team, trying to get out on B team, trying to get on an A team, or you're trying to just get more track time within those teams, I want you to really get that you do need to humble yourself and just do the work. Because oftentimes it's that entitlement, I deserve it attitude that has us not work as hard at practice, that has us kind of have a crap attitude on the tracks. No one wants to skate with you, right? So really take a look at, are you showing up as the kind of skater that's just taking coaching, working hard, taking coaching, working hard? Because those are the skaters that are going to get rostered, because they're going to get noticed. So hopefully this is helpful. And I told you earlier, if you want help implementing this, don't worry, I got you. To make this happen on the track, okay, you're going to need 3 things. So write these down. Number 1 is strategy. Okay, that means promise yourself no more random drills, no more recycled gym plans. You actually need a roadmap that's made for roller derby athletes. Okay, you need to have a strategy. You can't just wing it. The second piece of this is shifting your mindset, right? You actually have to start rewiring the way that you see yourself so that training becomes second nature and isn't a struggle. Okay. And then the third piece of this is accountability. I mean, my guess is you've tried going at this alone a million times. How many programs have you started and quit? Right now, imagine having a coach, like a one-on-one derby specific coach, an entire community behind you to help you every step of the way. Well, those 3 things are exactly what Crash Course is. Right. And so I will be clear though, like Crash Course is not for everyone. So I'll give you a little like, who is this for? Who is it not for? This is definitely for you if you're serious about getting stronger, faster, more confident. You're like done with that roller coaster and you're ready for like consistently getting better. Okay. And you really want to not just train like an athlete, like and cool, be good at derby, but you actually want to live like one. You want to live the lifestyle of an athlete. This is 100% not for anyone that is chasing overnight results, because it's just not going to happen. I'm not going to tell you you're going to make the A team in 4 weeks. It's just not going to happen. It's also not for anyone who isn't coachable or committed. Like you have to come into this, like I said, humbling yourself to show me what to do. I'm ready to do the work. Which leads me to the last one, which is just being ready to do the work. Like if you're just kind of like, I'm not really sure if I like roller derby, 100% this program is not for you. But it is for you if you're like, I love this sport, I want to get better, I want to do it. And if you were going to go and let's say like do all of this on your own, right? Like maybe you were going to hire a personal trainer, right? And then you're going to hire a dietitian to help you work with you on like the fueling like an athlete thing. And then you were going to hire a life coach or a mindset coach to work with you, right? And then maybe hire a skate coach to work with you on skills and strategy, right? If you're going to put all these people together, realistically, I went and like did all the numbers, you would be spending probably around $6,500 to do something like that for about 16 weeks. And the crazy thing is that's even with most of them not understanding what roller derby is. These are just like general practitioners. But inside of Crash Course, if you were to apply and get accepted, here's what the program would look like, okay? You would start out with a onboarding success call. This is like an orientation call where we make sure that you understand what you need to execute, make sure you have a plan on how to execute it, the mindset that you need to be in. We literally step by step take an entire week and walk you through the program to make sure that you're ready before you even start. So we set you up for success before you even start. We would customize a off skates roller derby training plan for you. So we would make sure that the workouts were geared towards your agility, your ability level, that they were geared towards your specific goals, and taking into account like how much training are you doing and things like that. So you're doing enough to get results, but not too much to burn yourself out. Okay. You would also get one-on-one support through our app. So we have an app that we use where we'll deliver all of your workouts to you with like video examples of all the movements, and it tracks your personal bests. But also, if you ever need support from your coach throughout the week, you can literally message them inside the app anytime. Like, that is your person. You will also be joining us for weekly group coaching calls, which are cool. So one of the things that I love the most about Crash Course is that our skaters get to connect with each other. It's like this magical global derby team, except without all the drama and competition, and everybody just wants everyone else to win. And it's a great place to not just learn from what other people are going through, but then also to feel seen and heard and supported on the stuff that you're getting stuck on. Every 8 weeks, we do mindset and on skates intensives. These are literally done on Zoom. We have our skaters on skates. We're working with them on different movements around balance and agility. And then we also have some kind of an athlete mindset topic. And then we will also be doing nutrition coaching and custom macros for you. So we'll let you know how much protein you need to be eating. We'll help you figure out what does your meal plan need to look like. And then on top of that, we'll give you like a ton of athlete fuel recipes, and we'll support you in that process of like how to actually do this thing without living in the kitchen, so that you can actually eat and feel like an athlete and have it be a little bit more brainless. You would also be going through the full 16-week athlete development course. So this is set up to set up the habits and routines of high performers: morning routines, evening routines, handling temptations, what to do when you get burnt out. We really work with you on not just what are you doing on the track, here's how to do it, but what things in your real life need to shift to set you up for this to be something that you can permanently do forever, not just something that you can suck it up and torture yourself for 16 weeks. Okay. On top of that, you also get one-on-one coaching calls. So every month you will have a call with your coach where you look at that last 4 weeks and you look at how is everything going? What are you getting stuck on? What do we need to brainstorm on? And so that way you have sort of like these monthly checkpoints on top of your weekly checkpoints to keep you motivated, to keep you focused. And then you get access to skill and footage reviews. So if you're someone who's like, man, like, I feel like my practices are really busy and like I don't really want to go to like my coach to like work with me on like whether it's my apex jumps or to like review footage, you can actually send that stuff to us. So whether it's taking videos of you doing certain moves that you're working on, or if it's that you just had a scrimmage and you felt like you did really great, or maybe you felt like you didn't do super great, you can sit down with your coach and actually they can give you feedback on strategies that you're doing, where you need to be on the track, and helping you make sure that you're leveling up as a skater from that. And then on top of that all, I think the thing that's so magical about this program is the community and support. I mean, our community is so incredible. Everybody supports each other. Everybody cheers each other on. And I think there's something magical about that because they're not all on the same leagues. They are able to just be nothing but love and support for each other. And it's so cool. And so the value of a program like this, not like the actual cost, but like if you were to like piece all of this stuff together, the actual value of a program like this, easily over $8,000. I talked to some of our clients and I'm like, what do you think? Like hypothetically, what would I charge for this? And most of them said it should be at least $6,000. But real talk, I understand the derby community. You know, you are training for tournaments, you're going to RollerCon. I can't be like, oh, this program's $8,000 for 16 weeks. Like that's just not realistic. So we do have different tiers of the program, and even the highest tier of the program isn't even close to half that amount. So like I said, there's these different levels and we figure out which pieces you need, right? But here's the thing, just to be really straight, I'm actually not selling you anything today. You actually can't just click a button and sign up for this program. That's not how it works. We have an application process. So if it's something that you're interested in exploring, what I am offering you is a free one-on-one strategy session to map out your path, okay? And what would happen on that call is we would get clear on your goals for the next 6 months. We'll look at what's holding you back and getting in your way. And then we can really create that custom roadmap for you on what you need to be doing to level up. And if it's a good fit on that little 15-minute call, we would invite you to apply for a crash course, that we would invite you to an actual interview call. And if not, you're still going to walk away with a ton of clarity, a ton of direction. But understand that our space is limited. We only open up a certain amount of roster spots every single month. So if it's something that you're interested in, I will drop the link down below, and you'll fill out that goals sheet. It's like a pre-application, and then you'll have your strategy call. After you fill out the goal sheet, there will be a link to book a strategy call. You'll have that call, you'll get a lot of value from it, and then if it feels like something we should have a conversation about an application, we can do that from there. But I think the main thing is, like, you're here because you know you're meant to be more. You're meant to be more on the track. You're probably meant to even be more in the rest of your life, right? You've tried doing the work, you've tried showing up, and you're still stuck. But now you have a choice, right? You can keep guessing, you can keep going on your own, or you can book a free call. We can get a plan, and then we can finally develop you into the athlete that you're meant to be. So click the link, fill out the pre-app, book your call. If any of this has hit home for you, you know, my goal is when I make these videos that they are always super valuable, super actionable. So if you have a teammate that can use some of the things that I've talked about on this video today, please share it with a teammate, post it in your league chat, because I really believe that life is a contact sport. So I'm just here to help you win. I'll see you later.